Alright, so now we're back. We have the same polynomial that we're starting with, but this time we're dividing by x minus 3. So once you have the setup written down, go ahead and pause the video and give it a try. Alright, if you're feeling stuck, let's talk through our process again. So I'm going from my leading term of x to x to the fourth. So I have to figure out what to multiply x by to get x to the fourth. That's going to be x cubed. Then I multiply, I get x to the fourth, and then minus 3x cubed. Okay. Now at this point, I subtract, and these are 0, which is good because that's what we wanted. And then remember that I'm subtracting a negative 3, so you could think of it as adding 3x cubed to negative 4. So now I have negative x to the third power. Okay, I have two terms here, so I'm going to go ahead and drop this next term so that I have 2 over here. And then again I'm saying, what do I need to multiply x by to get to negative x cubed? Take a moment to try to figure that out yourself. Alright, so I need a negative, and I need another x factor and another x factor to get up to 3 factors of x. Right? So that's going to need x squared. So negative x squared times x is negative x cubed, and then negative x squared times negative 3, that's be positive 3x squared. I'm going to subtract that away. These undo each other. Then I have negative 5x squared minus 3x squared, so that's going to be negative 8x squared. Two terms, so I'm going to drop another term. So now think through your next step. Try to continue on as far as you can without me. So go ahead and pause the video until you can finish. Good. Okay, so we're looking again. I need a negative 8 and another x. So negative 8x. Multiply that through. Multiply there. That gives me a positive 24x. I'm going to subtract. These disappear. That's 0. So 36 minus 24. That's going to be a 12x. Again, I'm going to drop another term. And so now I have 12x, and I have x here. So I'm going to need to multiply by a 12. So plus 12 gives me 12x. And then that makes minus 36. And when I subtract, I get 0. Now again, I'm at my constant term, so that should be my last term. Anything left over would be my remainder, but in this case, my remainder is 0. Okay? So that tells me that if I take x minus 3 and multiply that by x cubed minus x squared minus 8x plus 12, I get my original quartic. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and go through this using synthetic division as well. I'm going to do that on the other side. Okay, so for synthetic division, I set it up very similarly, except I don't need all of these x's. We kind of do an upside down version of that. So in this case, I have a coefficient of 1, then a coefficient of negative 4, a coefficient of negative 5, a coefficient of 36, and a coefficient of negative 36. And since I'm dividing by x minus 3, my 0 value there would be 3. So I'm going to put a 3. Now for synthetic division, remember that synthetic division is only going to work when we're dividing by a linear polynomial here. So I have it set up. If you remember how to do this, pause the video and go ahead and try it on your own. It's good even if you're not sure if you know how to do it, to try it out and see what you know. Okay, welcome back. So we're going to go ahead and first step, drop our leading coefficient. Then we do two steps. We multiply, so 3 times 1, put that here, and then we add. Notice here we subtracted. In synthetic division we add. Notice that we have the reverse happening here. We had a -3 here, we have a +3 here. Okay, so I add those together, I get a -1. And then I continue that process. 3 times -1 is -3. Add them together, I get -8. 3 times -8 is going to be -24. Add those together, I get 12. And then 3 times 12 is 36. And I add those together, I get 0. And that last term is always going to be my remainder. So notice I have a 1, -1, -8, 12. And that corresponds to my coefficients here. 1, -1, -8, 12. Because I started with x to the 4th, then I know, since I divided by a linear polynomial, that my first part is going to be to the 3rd power, so 1x to the 3rd power, minus 1x squared, minus 8x, and then plus 12. Good. All right, we're going to go with one more using these numbers here, and then we'll go on to some different material.